Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning. So in today's session, we'll talk about containerization. So we have already heard about Docker, right? I mean, in our previous exercise as well, we have seen Docker and we have pulled some Docker images while using SonarQube, right? So now, in detail, we'll see about Docker in today's session. Okay. So let me share my screen. Guys, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, Sabir, you can see.
Yes, sir. Yeah, visible.
Okay. So here we have containerization. Okay. So once Docker. Okay. So what is Docker? Any idea why are we using Docker and why Docker has been very important in all the projects? Someone go on mute. I'm able to hear some noises. If you want to tell something, then unmute and reply. Okay, and then go on mute. Okay, so Docker is a very powerful tool for containerization. Now, what do you mean by containerization? Do we have any other tools apart from Docker for containerization? Do we have any other tools?
Kubernetes.
Kubernetes is for orchestration, not for containerization.
Red Flag, like
Sorry,
Red Stack.
what you said, I didn't. I was unable to hear that.
It's compatible to Docker.
Compatible to Docker, we have Kubernetes, we have Mesos, we have ECS, we have Docker Swarm, we have Docker Compose. So these are the different technologies which are compatible to containerization, not only for Docker but containerization.
Like we can create images and containers so that we have to store our.
So we can create our applications in containerization, but do we have any other technologies as well in order to create containers apart from Docker?
Solaris.
I don't think so. We have Solaris, no. Okay, so let me just check this out. Alternative tools for container management.
Podman.
We have something called Podman, yes. We have
Container.
something called LX, I guess. I'm unable to recollect. Yeah, LXC Linux container. So we do have LXC Linux containers. We have Docker. We have Podman. So these are the few different technologies which are available in the market for the containerization. Okay. So we have Podman, containerization tools. So one is Docker, one is Podman, one
Container.
is LXC. Okay, so these are the few alternate containerization tools. But out of this, Docker is very popular. So we'll be using Docker only. And even in interviews, everyone will be asking about Docker only. Okay. So now, what do you mean by containerization? Before understanding containerization, we should understand virtualization versus containerization. Okay. Before understanding containerization, we should have the understanding of virtualization. Means containerization is the latest technology. Prior to containerization, virtualization was available in the market. What do you mean by virtualization? What is the difference, or what were the disadvantages why we have moved to containerization? So what was the problem with virtualization? Okay, so in virtualization, what will happen is, so let me draw one diagram. Okay, so this will be my virtualization image, and this will be my containerization image. Okay, so here in virtualization, what will happen? First, we'll have our infrastructure. This will be my infrastructure. Infrastructure means it can be related to RAM, CPU, some XYZ configurations where we will be provisioning our servers. Okay, so this infrastructure means RAM, CPU, and then memory, hard disk, whatever we want, that will comes under the infrastructure. After infrastructure, we can see one more thing called hypervisor. Okay, what do you mean by hypervisor? Any idea?
It is used for virtualization to interact with hardware and software.
Okay, so virtual hypervisor is a software, okay, which will help us to create virtual machines. Hypervisor is nothing but one software which will help us to create virtual machines. Okay, so here again let us categorize into three different parts. One, two, and three. Okay, so here we'll have our three applications. For example, app 1, and then app 2, and then app 3. Okay, and then we'll have our operating systems here. Guest OS, okay, and then we'll have our binaries or libraries. Okay, so let me just copy this. Okay, so in virtualization, first we'll have our infrastructure, and in this infrastructure we'll download or we'll set up this hypervisor software which will help us to create our virtual machines, and then we'll have our three virtual machines which will be supporting for three different applications. For example, application 1, application 2, and application 3. Okay, and here we'll have each application will have its own operating system. Okay, guest operating system means the operating system which is used to deploy our application. So here, for example, assume that in this example, this can be Linux. Okay, this can be, for example, Windows. This can be, for example, Ubuntu. So what is happening in one particular setup or infrastructure or hardware? We are creating multiple operating systems. So what is the benefit by doing virtualizations? What will happen is, for each application, one specific operating system is required for the deployment because of the dependencies, or the application will be run on that particular operating system only. Okay, so now, for example, in my project we have three different applications. Then what I should do? I should maintain three different physical machines. I mean, I need to purchase three different hardwares In one hardware I will install Ubuntu, in one hardware I will install Windows, in one hardware I will install Linux, and then I will deploy my applications. Okay, so that is one way to do that. Another way is we can buy only one infrastructure which will be of high capacity. For example, assume that this is of 16 GB or 64 GB, and this same infrastructure can be shared across different applications with the help of these hypervisors. Okay, so instead of buying different hardwares for each application, what I will do, I will buy a specific hardware with high capacity and I will virtualize all my applications. I can deploy multiple applications by creating multiple virtual machines. Okay, so here the mandatory is operating system, means operating system is compulsory available. It should be installed for sure. Understood? Guys, yes or no? Others?
Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what is happening? So we are kind of saving some cost as well as on the same infrastructure, we can create multiple operating system. In simple words, if you want to understand virtualization, assume that computer inside computer. Okay, for example, this is my Windows machine. Yes or no? Guys, yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, this is my Windows machine. Here what I have did, I have installed Oracle VM Box. So this software. So this software, what this software will do? This software will help me to create one virtual machine. Okay, for example, if you see the capacity of my machine, where is this? Where is the properties files? This is to open. Okay, here if you see this, so what I have did, I have purchased one machine or infrastructure with, here we have 16 GB of RAM and around 512 GB of SSD, means 16 GB capacity of RAM and 512 GB of hard disk is what I am having. Okay, so this is my infrastructure what I have purchased. Now what I will do, I have three applications which needs to be deployed. So now what I will do, in this particular machine I will create or I will install any hypervisor. In my case, we can assume as Oracle VM is my hypervisor. So let me open this, and here I will create my virtual machine. So how to create that virtual machines? For example, we need to have these images. Okay, here can you guys see this image? Yesterday we have downloaded, right? So this is my Ubuntu 22 version. So in Windows, what I will do, I will install my Ubuntu machine. Okay, this is the image what we have downloaded yesterday. So for in our case, what we can do, we can download Ubuntu, we can download Windows, we can download Linux, whatever is our requirement. I can download all these images. Okay, so this image is nothing but operating system. Even if someone has installed Windows in our laptops, that's because of these images only. They have copied this image either into the CDs or into the pen drives. Okay, so now what we'll do, we have got this image, so I will click on new, and then I need to pass the name, what name I should give to my image. So I will configure as Ubuntu version 22. So this is the latest version. I guess latest is 24 if I'm not wrong. Okay, so we are using 22nd version, and here it is asking us to specify the path. Okay, let it be in the same path. Okay, click on next. Okay, okay, and here now it is asking, see here 8 core of CPUs, from where it got the specific details. Okay, how this VM knows that it has 8 core of CPUs? That's basically based upon my infrastructure. This has already got the detail. Okay, now what I will do for this Linux or Ubuntu image, how much RAM it should give means what is happening in this infrastructure. We have 16 GB. Okay, and 8 core of CPUs are available. So what I am doing, I am assigning 2 GB or 2 cores. Okay, so I will be assigning 2 core of CPUs to my Ubuntu machine. Understood? So out of this 16 GB, I am assigning 2 cores of CPUs, means around 4 GB of RAM to my Ubuntu image. And remaining how much is available? 12 GB. 12 GB, if I want, I will keep, or if I want to create some other operating systems, then I will use that 12 GB. Okay. So in my case, I'm using 2 cores. Okay, that is 4 GB, and then click on next. Okay, and it is asking me to create one hard disk. So default it is taking around some 25 GB. So let it take. Okay, next. I mean, even this hard disk, from where it is getting these hard disk details? From my hard disk. I mean, the infrastructure what I have right as of now in my computer. So from there it is trying to fetch the details. And then next. Okay, and then click on finish. Done. So basically what I have did, I have created one Ubuntu image. I mean, sorry, one Ubuntu operating system inside my Windows operating system. So we need to pass the details of the image as well. So that has been picked by default only. Okay. And if I'll click on start, let us see what is happening. It is taking some time to start this up. Okay, now I am trying to pass my image which I have downloaded. Okay, so I will click this image, and from this image this will try to start. Okay, now see, Ubuntu image or Ubuntu operating system is getting installed in my Windows machine. So what I have did, I haven't purchased any other hardware. By using the existing hardware, I have created one more operating system. Here what I will do, if I want to deploy, I will deploy my application. If I want to do some testing environments, I will create some test environments. Okay, so prior to containerization, virtualization was the technology which was used on the servers. Okay, understood?
Yes, sir.
So even if you want to do some practice, right? So no need of having servers. Our machine itself, we can create one server. From our machine, we can create our own servers. I mean, we can launch virtual machines, either Linux, Ubuntu, whatever you guys are doing, right? I mean, for example, you are installing Jenkins on Linux. Then you can create one virtual machine, install Jenkins. No need of any AWS servers or cloud servers. Okay. But what will happen here? We have some disadvantages as well. Okay. So let me first install this, and then we can discuss about the disadvantages. For the first time it will take some time, but from the second time this will be easy process. Okay, okay, let me in Kolkata only. Okay, I have given some passwords and I have given the username as my name. Guys, if you have any questions, then let me know. In the meantime, it will take some time to install this. If you have any questions, then let me know.
Nowadays,
Yes.
fixed amount of hard disk, 2 core hard.
Sorry.
You have given 2 core of hard disk now. So
Hmm.
what if it gets stuck with the running command?
What is this? तुम्हारी आवाज साफ नहीं है जफर.
What if it gets stuck? How to increase the limit of it?
If you want to increase this, means if suppose I have given 2 GB and if I want to increase my capacity, this is what you are asking, right?
Means can I use the flexibility? Means I need some more extra. I can take some hard the local infrastructure and I can use that much and I can revert back after that. For that process.
I am unable to understand your question, Jafar.
अब मेरे को प्रोसेस करने के वास्ते 2-3 CPU कोर होना है तो वो
Okay,
लेके
okay.
थोड़ा फ्लेक्सिबल ले सकते क्या उसी में?
So what will happen is, for example, if you need at least 4 core of CPUs to execute your application or process, right? So in this case, you need to provide that specification. If the minimum capacity is 4 cores, then you cannot assign 2 cores. The application will not support. Okay. So if you want to run any process or any application with specific specification, then you need to assign that specifications. Okay. Understood, Jafar?
Okay, sir.
So here what was happening? So in virtualization, what I have did, out of 16 GB, I have assigned around 2 GB or 4 GB to my Ubuntu. Then remaining, I mean the other stuff is still available. Means 12 GB is available. So this 12 GB I can assign to some other operating system. If I want to create some other operating system and host my application, then I can do that. Okay. So the problem here is, if you see this is taking a lot of time to start. Okay. So this is taking lot of time to start. Apart from this, and if 4 GB is in use for this Ubuntu, then my Windows machine has been compromised. I mean, my base operating system, here I only have 12 GB. So whether this machine is running or not, it doesn't matter. It has already reserved 4 GB of RAM from your 16 GB. Okay. So what will happen? There is some issues. I mean, I will not be able to consume all the 16 GB. If this Ubuntu machine is not running, then still 4 GB will be reserved for Ubuntu only. So the specific resources will be reserved whether you are using or not using. And apart from this, it is taking a lot of time to start. To start my virtual machine, it is taking a lot of time. And apart from this, all these images are dependent on the operating system. Means you need to have that operating system images for sure. And the size of that machine operating system is 4.7 GB. If you want to share this with someone else, then it will be very difficult for us. Okay, so that's where we have got this containerization technology. So in containerization, what will happen? For example, this is my infrastructure with same 16 GB. Then this will be my Windows operating system. Here what I will do, I will install my operating system. Okay, and then what I will do, I will install the containerization technology. Instead of hypervisor, what I will do, I will install my containerization. Okay, so I will install any containerization platform. Means it can be either Docker, it can be either Podman, or it can be either any one of the container service. Okay, and then what I will do, one. Okay, so we have 3 applications which needs to be deployed. Okay, so here I will deploy my app 1, app 2, and app 3. Okay, and then this will be my binaries and libraries. This will be my binaries and libraries, and this will be my binaries and libraries. Means there is no base operating system, means these containers are not dependent upon the operating system. Okay, these containers are not depending upon the operating system. There is no operating system. See, the only thing what we need to do is we need to install the containerization platform and download the image which you want to use. For example, if you want to use Ubuntu, then download Ubuntu image. If you want to use Windows, download Windows. If you want to use Linux, then download Linux image. Download the image, deploy your application. That's it. Now the question is, if there is no operating system, then how this application is running? There is no dependency on the operating system in containerization, then how this application is running. Here we have these binaries or libraries, right? So what will happen is, so wherever we have installed our operating system, okay, the same kernel will be used for the containerization as well. Okay, the operating system where we have installed the containerization, the kernel will be shared with these containers, and then these containers will be able to communicate and start the application. Okay, so this is the difference between virtualization and containerization. Okay, so let me open this image. What happened? This is still taking time. Okay, it will take some more time to run this and to get started with this. In the meantime, what I will do is I will try to start one container as well. Guys, understood? So we have some few simple points what we can tell in interviews is, virtual machines are dependent on operating systems. Okay, based upon this image, guys, let me know what are the differences between containerization and virtualization. Virtual machines are dependent on operating system and
It is not fixed.
virtual machines, everyone, I want everyone to respond.
It is not fixed in volume to be provided from infrastructure.
Virtual machine will take long time to start up and shut down. Okay, and then
it will slow down the actual machine, main machine.
it will not slow down the virtual machine, it will slow down the other processes. I mean, if it is even not using, it will reserve some infrastructure. Okay, what happened? This is still not running. Okay, virtual machines will take some long time to start up and shut down, and virtual machines size is very high and it is not flexible to move from one env to another env, means from one environment to another environment. It is not that much easy to move them. Okay, whereas for the containerization, this will be commonly asked in interviews, guys. Okay, containers are independent of operating systems, means in order to create any container, no need to have any operating system. These containers are independent of the operating systems. Okay, and these containers will be very fast to start up and to shut down, and then containers size will be very low, making them flexible to move from one ENV to another ENV. ENV means environment. Okay, so container size is very low, and this will help us to easily move them from one environment to another environment. So these are some basic differences what you guys need to talk in interviews. Okay, guys, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, installation is complete, and this is now restarting my Ubuntu. So let us wait. Till that time, let me log into my AWS. Okay, so this is our North Virginia region. So I'm just trying to install one, launch one EC2. Same can be done on Windows as well. In Windows, we have Docker Desktop. Here, if you see this Docker Desktop, so try to install this Docker Desktop as well. So with the help of Docker Desktop, what we can do, we can create our containers here only. No need to have any server. Okay, so we can create our containers here itself. So try to install Docker setup as well. Okay, so for now, let me use one EC2 launch instance. Okay. Docker server, and then we can use which image. I will be using Amazon Linux image. So Amazon Linux 2, and then instance type, let me use T2 micro only, and then key pair, let me create one key pair. Docker is my key pair name. This process already we are aware, right? So this will be my default existing security group, default one. Okay, 8 GB of space available, launch instance. Okay, so one Docker server is been setting up. Okay, in the meantime, let us see our virtual machine. For the first time, it is taking long time, but after this, it will not take. Virtual machines will take some time, but not this much time. Okay, let us see here what's the update on the containerization. Okay, so security, let me open the port numbers. Let me check if there are any port numbers are blocked or not. All traffic 0.0. Okay, so I have opened all the ports to my EC2 instance. Now if I try to connect, click on connect. Okay, so one server has been set up. Now let me switch to root user. Okay, and install Docker m-y install Docker. This command will help us to install Docker in our EC2. Okay, in Linux, not for Ubuntu. This is for Linux. Okay, so this is getting installed. Meantime, let us check about our virtual machine. Okay, now this has been set up. If I click on hardware, it is asking for password. My password is DevOps and there are 123. Oh shit, I think the wrong password. DevOps and there are 123. Okay, see, now what we have did, we have one virtual machine is also ready. Okay, done. Okay, everything has been set up. So this is my virtual machine based upon Ubuntu. Now if you want to do something, for example, open terminal, here we have open in terminal. So you can see the username is Saber, and currently I'm in the desktop location PWT. Same commands will get executed even if you want to do some testing, right? So we can use this. Okay, this is good for testing or to do some practice. Okay, here if you'll see, this is my internet, this is volume, this is battery. Okay, based upon my laptop, it is trying to fetch the details. Okay, now let me just switch to user root. Which user, password, DevOps 123. Remind later. DevOps 123. Okay, so now currently I'm into the root user. Now if you want to check the details, right, for example df-h, so we can see this one. These are my hard disk. Okay, if you want to check all the users password, we can see all the users available in this machine. Okay, so what we have did inside our Windows, we have created one virtual machine which is supporting Ubuntu. So now if I want to install anything, for example apt get install nginx, we can execute the same command, same process. Yes, there is no change in the process. The only thing is we need to launch one virtual machine with the help of the operating system image. Okay, so what I have did, I have installed my nginx. Now if I want to start systemctl start nginx, nginx has been started. If you want to deploy, where www html, okay, vi index.html. Here what I will do, I will let me change this message. Oh shit. Welcome to virtualization. Okay, and then save. Now we have deployed our application successfully. I mean any static pair. Now if you want to access, then we need to know the IP address. Generally how can we know the IP address? If config is the command. Okay, here it is asking to install this tool. Apt install net-tools. Okay, now if I'll do, here we can find the IP address 10.0.2.15. This is my IP address. Okay, so let me just copy this IP address. If I'll open the browser, here we do also have GUI access as well. I mean, even in Linux or Ubuntu or any other operating system, we can also have graphical user interface similar to desktop. We need to set up the GNU setup. Okay, see, welcome to virtualization. So this is how we can deploy our application. Understood? Now if you want to shut down this machine, just go here or else click close, power of the machine. Okay. server has been shut down. Now if you open this Oracle box, we can see powered off. Okay, so end of the day, what we have seen, computer inside one computer. Okay, inside Windows we have our own Ubuntu machine as well. Understood? If you want to start this again, open this Oracle VM, click this, click on start, and the operating system will get started. Okay, now if you want to add one more, then click on add, or else click on new, give any name, for example Linux. Okay, image. In this particular column we need to select the image. So where do we have that image? Select that image and click on next. Specify certain what we call memory and RAM, and then proceed. Okay, so this is how we can use our virtual machines. Understood or not?
Yes. Understood.
Others guys, Faria, Amir Khan, Ravi, Krishna, Somshekhar, Nidrabhai Rai Andaru.
No, listening.
Yes.
Then
Yes, understand.
Yeah, understand.
For listening.
Somshekhar, laptop పెట్టి పక్కన వెళ్ళిపోయారు. Okay. Naushad and Aman.
Yeah, we are listening.
Okay, so in general, whenever we get to work for any project, right? So whenever we, I mean, if we'll got offer from Infosys or any company, so what will happen? So for example, Infosys will provide one laptop, and inside that laptop we will be using the VDA only. So we call as VDAs as well, virtual desktops. Okay, for example, the client will not provide laptop. What client will do? Client will provide one image related to their work. Okay, and we will be setting up, I mean, we in the sense the IT team will set up this image in the virtual machines or any other softwares. So we will launch this one and we'll start working in the client laptop. Okay, so this was all about virtualization. Now let us talk about containerization. So in containerization, we have installed Docker already, right? So even if you see, whenever we are trying to launch one EC2, so how this EC2 is getting launched? Even AWS is using virtualization concept. In the background, to launch these EC2s, okay, AWS is using virtualization concept. AWS doesn't have a specific micro server over there. They have a bulk around 64 or for example 500 GB of RAM of hardware, and where as per your requirement it will reserve that capacity and they will set up one server for us. So in the background, even they are using some virtualization technology only, but that is very fast. Okay, so if you want, you can see it. AWS uses which hypervisor to launch EC2. See, Amazon Web Services primarily uses a customized version of the Zen hypervisor for running EC2 instances. This hypervisor allows AWS to efficiently manage virtualized resources and isolate instances from one another. See, they are using this kind of hypervisor, Zen hypervisor, to launch their EC2 instances. Understood? Even AWS or any other cloud platforms, they are using the same hypervisor technology, but that is much faster. That is the customized version of their own. Okay. Got it? So let me try to connect from GitBash so that the fonts will be much better. Okay, this is my downloads. Yes. Sudo su. Currently I'm into the root location. Now if I'll do systemctl status docker, Docker is installed but not running. So let me start Docker. Okay, now if I do the status, Docker is active and running. Okay, so as per this image, we have got our infrastructure, that is T2 Micro, operating system is Linux, and then containerization platform is Docker. So we have installed all these three. Okay, now let us try to pull one image. Okay, so how will you pull the images? I mean, I want to set up one Ubuntu. I want to deploy Nginx. So what I can do? So we have one command in Docker called, for example, before that, let us check the version, docker -f version. We can see version number 20. Okay, docker -f help. We can get lot of commands. So always remember, we have something called help. Not only for Docker, even for any CLI commands, either for Terraform, for Kubernetes, for Docker, for Ansible. If you'll do -f help, then we can see lot of options. I mean, these are nothing but the commands. Okay, so these are the different parameters or command what we can use to create our containers. Okay, so we have it and all this stuff. Now, so we have one command called, let me show you that command. Where is that? Okay, see, pull an image or a repository from a registry. Pull an image or repository from my registry. Okay, so we have one command called docker pull, and let me just hit enter. So what is happening? Say docker pull, and then it is asking to provide the options, name, and then tag. Pull an image or a repository from a registry, same output. Okay, so docker pull. Now I want to pull one Ubuntu image, so I will use Ubuntu and hit enter. See what is happening? Using default tag latest, pulling from library Ubuntu, pull complete, downloaded it, newer image for Ubuntu latest. Means one Ubuntu image has been downloaded. So where that is available and how to check which image is available, we can use docker images command. Then we can see the images which we have downloaded. So currently I have downloaded Ubuntu, the image name is Ubuntu, the tag is latest, and this is the image ID. This has been created 2 weeks ago and the size is 77.8 MB. Earlier, what was the size in virtualization? It was 4 GB. In containerization, it is 77 MB. It has been created 2 weeks ago. Who has created this 2 weeks ago? And from where this has been downloaded? It is showing something called library. Where is this library?
Docker Hub registry.
So we have something called registry. Okay, if you see this registry, so what will happen is, so whenever we try to execute docker pull command, right? So let me click on new. I think this image is clear, right? So let me remove this image. Don't save. Okay, so whenever I try to execute docker pull Ubuntu, or for example docker pull Linux or docker pull Nginx, so what is happening? It is trying to connect to some central repository. This is nothing but Docker Hub. Okay, so this is my Linux machine. So what is happening here? If I'm executing docker pull command, it will go and check to the registry. We call this as registry as well, Docker Hub. The name of the registry is Docker Hub. So we have different registries. For now, assume that we are using Docker Hub. Okay, so from this registry it will go and it will check for this image called Ubuntu, and then it will download that image in my machine. Sorry. Okay, so let us now try to explore Docker Hub. So where is my Docker Hub? So if I'll go here, dockerhub.com. Okay, so this is nothing but Docker Hub registry. So this is a centralized place where all the images are available. Now the question is, who is keeping these images? We know that, okay, there is one place called Docker Hub where all the images are available. Now who is keeping that images? This is a free account, guys. If you want to create the accounts. Not if you want, this is mandatory. I want everyone to create their accounts in Docker Hub. Yes, Jafar.
It is a free account na Savilay, so means community members.
See,
Who will
if it is free, then will you post something? Have you post something on anything on GitHub? It is free, right? So you have been using GitHub from last 3 months. You have kept something on GitHub.
create something which is visible for others?
Yeah. So let me. Okay. So if you want, let me explain you that as well. Okay. So you will get the answer. Let me try to stick to this topic. Okay. So we have this Docker Hub here. You can check for any image. For example, Ubuntu, right? So if I'll click on Ubuntu, then we can see Ubuntu images. And here if you see Docker official image, means this is trusted. This has been provided by the Ubuntu software guys. So what they will do, if suppose Ubuntu is not hosting their image over here, then people will not use Ubuntu operating system. They might use the operating system which is available. So these are being published by the companies only. So whenever you see Docker official image, this is a kind of blue tick. I mean, we have the blue ticks in Instagram and Twitter, right? Official one. So similar here as well. Okay. So and here if you see 21 lakh crore, almost 2 crore 74 lakh people has pulled this image last week. Okay. So this is the official Docker image which has been published by Ubuntu. Okay. So if I'll click here, so similarly we can see a lot of images. So whoever has created, for example, I have created one Slack. Okay. So what I will do, if I want my users to use Slack, I will publish this image in my Docker Hub. I will post this image to users. Then the users will be using this. Okay. So here if you see this Ubuntu image, from here it is trying to download the image. See, Docker pull Ubuntu. This is the command to pull the image from the registry. And here, Jafar, hope you got your answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, here if you see this, using default tag called latest. Here also we have something called latest. So what is the tag? Here if I click on tags, we can see different tags available. So what do you mean by tag? Tag is nothing but you can assume as the specific version. So the version of image what I am using is latest one. So here I haven't specified as latest, but by default what it will do, it will just download the latest image. If suppose you are not passing the tag, for example, I haven't passed the tag, right? So it will try to fetch the latest image from the registry. If suppose you are passing the tag, for example, Ubuntu :rolling, then what will happen? This image will be pulled. Okay, understood? So this is how the Docker is trying to pull the images. So now let us try to pull one more image. For example, we have done the Jenkins setup, right? So what happened? This has got stuck or what? I think this got stuck. Let me try to reconnect. Sorry. Okay, Docker images, we can see one image is available. Now, if I want to pull Jenkins, so how can I pull by using Docker pull Jenkins? Hit enter. See what is happening now. Using default tag latest, because I haven't specified any tag, it is trying to download the latest. But here I am seeing some issue, error response from daemon Jenkins : latest not found, manifest unknown, manifest unknown. What is this error? Just read this error message and let me know. I want response from everyone else.
So it was not fetching the Jenkins, like the Docker Hub registry, they will have a specific name to pull out the image. So you have to check with that and you have to give the name in this.
Okay. Others, what might be the issue?
That's not the correct way to pull the Jenkins. It's another command to pull from there.
We are not talking right.
Others.
Yeah, no dependencies for Jenkins.
So the thing is, we haven't passed any.
Dependencies.
Yes. So we haven't passed any tag over here. So by default, what it did, it tried to fetch the latest tag. So here, what happened is in the Docker Hub registry, Jenkins. Okay, if I'll go to the official Jenkins, always go for official because this is something which is trustable. Okay, if I'll click here on Jenkins, click on tags. Do we have any tag related to latest here? See, no. If I'll do latest search as well, there is no tags. So same error we are able to see, means it is not mandatory that every image will have the tag called latest. For Ubuntu, it was available, but for Jenkins, that image is not available. So which tag is available? 2.6.0. This is the latest one. If you want, we can use some other tags as well. Okay, so now if I want to pull this image, what I can do is I need to pass the tag name as well. Docker pull colon 2.60.3. Right, 2.60.3. Yes, and if I'll hit enter, now this will go to the registry, check for this image with the tag 2.60.3 and download that image in my local machine. Okay, see, downloaded newer image for Jenkins 2.6.60.3. Now if I'll do Docker images, then we can see two images are available. See 2.60.3. This is the image ID, and this has been created 5 years ago, and the size is 696 MB. Understood? Everyone,
Yes, yes. Understood.
this is very important concept, guys. Without Docker, we can't proceed to Kubernetes. Okay?
Otherwise,
Yes.
we are having only Docker officials in the images means
We have other registries as well. For example, AWS ECR we do have, but the Docker Hub registry is the only registry where we can find lot of images. Other are the private registries. I mean, if you want to save your images only over there, then you can create and you can save your images. Okay, so we'll see about that in tomorrow session. Let us not discuss about that today. Okay. So now, for example, I want to remove or delete this image. I want to delete this particular image called Jenkins. So how can we use, how can I delete? Docker image RMI. Okay, and then image name or image ID. So I can use this image ID, hit enter. See what happened? Untagged and then deleted. Okay, now if I do Docker images, we can see only one image is available. So if you want to delete anything, we need to use Docker is the base command. I mean the basic or prerequisite I can say, and then image is the parent command, means what you are trying to do. So I want to delete image, so I am using image, and then RMI is the command to remove this image, and this will be the image ID or image name and then the tag name. Okay, so this is how we can delete. Now, okay, Docker images, we have got this Ubuntu image, but what is the use of this image? This image is available. Now how shall I start my container? So we need to remember 3 points in Docker. Docker file. Okay, what is Docker file? I will discuss about this in later session, not today. Okay, just for now, understand something that Okay, we have some concept called Docker file in Docker, and this is very important. Okay. Container. Okay, so what is happening is these images, I mean, whatever we are saying in Docker Hub, right, from where, how this image has been created. Now the question is, we have downloaded this image. Okay, I have shown to download the image. I am doing ping google.com so that my, or else let me do one thing, sleep 500, it will sleep for 500 seconds. Okay, so here we have seen something called images. We have downloaded the Ubuntu image, but from where this image has been got, ఇది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చింది, from where we have got this image. This image was available in Docker Hub, but how, I mean, in Docker Hub, from where it got in, I mean, what we call, how it got into the Docker Hub. Okay, so behind that we have something called Docker file. Means in order to get this image created, we need to have a Docker file. From this Docker file, one Docker image will get created, and from this Docker image, one Docker container will get created. So this is how the hierarchy is. This Docker image has been created out of Docker file, and now we are going to create the container out of this Docker image. Okay, now what is the difference between Docker image and Docker container? What is the difference between Docker image and Docker container? This answer you can find in this, in the Q&A book what we have provided, right? Question and answers, you can find this question. This is very important. Okay, so the difference is Docker image is nothing but a template of the image, or else we can say as a template or the set of instructions out of what an image has been created. Okay, this is nothing but one dead state of the image. Means this is available but still of no use, because I cannot, I mean, we haven't created anything out of this. Okay, so now container is nothing but the actual live state of this image. Okay, container is nothing but the live state of the image, and image is nothing but the set of instructions or the dependencies or the template out of what we can create one container. Okay, now how to create the container? We have a command called Docker container. Docker is the prerequisite, as I said. Container is nothing but the parent command. And now what you want to do? I want to run this container, Docker container run, and then this container ID or a container name. What will happen, guys? Do you have any questions?
Like container spelling.
Okay, sorry. Container. Okay. So even if you not use this container, this will run. But always make sure that you are specifying this so that you will have a better understanding that, okay, you are trying to create one container. Even if you not specify container, still it will start. Okay. So Docker container run, and then the name of the image. So I'm using Ubuntu. So I can either use Ubuntu latest, or else I can use only Ubuntu, or else I can pass the image ID, this one. Anything we can use Ubuntu and hit enter. Okay, now what happened? Something happened in the background. I don't have any output on the screen. Something executed in the background. So now if I'll do Docker container ps, means I want to get the list of containers, we can use Docker container ps command. If hit enter, now we can see container ID, image, command, created, status, ports name, but there is no containers in this. We are able to see the tags, headline, but there is no news over there. Okay, so what happened? If I'll do ps-a parameter will help us to check the status of the containers which are running as well as which has been exited. And if I'll hit enter, see something happened. See, one container has been created. The image what we have used is Ubuntu. This command has been got executed inside that container. It has been created 47 seconds ago, exited 46 seconds ago, and the port number, we don't have any port number, and then name. So name of this container is competent_care. From where it got the name? This is the default name. I mean, it will create some random names. I haven't specified anything. It has created some random name. Now, so we can use ps command to check the running containers. ps-a command to check the running containers as well as exited containers. Okay, now what happened? One container has created and that got exited. Why this has been exited? Even I am not sure. I need to check the logs of this container. So how can we check the logs? Docker. Which logs we want to check? We want to check the container logs. Okay, Docker container logs and then the container ID. Let me copy this. Okay, container ID, hit enter. There is no logs related to this container. Okay, there is no logs related to this container, and then --- follow, still 0 logs. We haven't got any logs related to this container. So let me try to run. I mean, we can run from this command, or else we do have some other commands as well. Same command, docker container run ubuntu, and then we have -it. -it means interactive terminal. So I'm trying to run my container in the interactive terminal and hit enter. Now see, one container has been started and I am inside this container. Okay, so if I'll exit from this, I will be out of my container. Okay, now if I'll do docker container ps, still no containers, ps-a, still no containers, exited. This is also exited 6 seconds ago. It has been created. I was inside this container, I have exited, and this got exited. Why? Let me explain that as well. Okay, so for now, let me try to explore one more command. So docker container run -it d. D means background. Okay, or else let me do one thing. Docker container run, instead of Jenkins, let me use Nexus. Okay, so here in Docker images, do we have any images related to Nexus? Yes or no? Do we have any images related to Nexus?
No.
Okay, no, right? So now I am trying to execute one command, docker container run Nexus. So what it should throw? What should happen? There is no image in my local machine. I haven't downloaded any image. So what should happen? Will this command execute or not?
It will ask for download Nexus image.
Okay, let us try. Okay, if I hit enter, see, unable to find image Nexus latest locally, error denied from daemon, full access denied for Nexus, report does not exist or may require denied request access. There is some issue. So let me first check in the Docker hub if we have this image called Nexus. There is no image, official image related to Nexus. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me use SonarQube. Okay, so we have the SonarQube official image, right? So tags also, we do have latest tags. Okay, so now instead of Nexus, let me try to use SonarQube. Will this work? Because in local, we don't have SonarQube image. Will this work or not? Or will I see the same issue? If I hit enter, see what is happening. See, unable to find image SonarQube latest locally, and then pulling from library, and then it is trying to download the image. So what will happen is, whenever we execute any container, then first it will check whether that image is available in the local or not. If this image is not available, then it will download the image for us. See, it has downloaded the image for us. Now if I'll open my this server, sudo sgfun. Okay, so this is also my Docker server, right, from another terminal. So here we are able to see something is happening. Okay, what happened? Why this is taking so much time? Maybe because of the T2 micro and SonarQube is taking a lot of space. Okay, so what it did, it first checked whether this image is available in the local or not. If not, then it is trying to pull that image. Means whether the image is available or not doesn't matter, but it will try to download this image always. First it will check local. If it is available, well and good, it will start the container, or else it will go to Docker registry, download, and then start. Okay, and then here we can see something called download images status has been successfully done, and it has started our container. See, the container has been started. So these are nothing but the logs from the container itself. But the problem here is my cursor got stuck. I'm unable to do some other functionality. Okay, so if I'll want to come out of this, I will use Control C, and this will get exited.
Try with Control P.
Control P. T2 micro kada server slow అయిపోయింది. I should have used some large instance instead of T2 micro. So if you are trying to practice, then use T2 large. Okay. So what happened? We are able to see some random logs, and our cursor got stuck over there itself. Okay. This is the issue over here. Let me try to log in again.
Server hanging.
Server stuck. Okay, let me do one thing, guys. Just 2 minutes. Let me stop this machine. Let me change the instance type. Okay. Go to actions, instance settings. Where can I find this? Because of high capacity, I mean SonarQube server will take a lot of CPU, right? So that's the reason this is failed. I mean this got stuck. Okay, so let me just try to change my server capacity. Okay, instance type. Let me use T2 large. PQRST, right? Yes. Okay, T2 large. Apply, and then let me try to start my container now. Sorry, start my EC2. Now the capacity of my instance is high. Okay, let us see what will happen. So always what will happen is, if the image is not available in local, then it will try to connect. I mean, it will try to pull from the Docker registry and then download to your local machine. Okay, so if you'll see this, this. Let us Docker. Okay, let me start Docker. Okay, now if you see status, this is running. Now if you see Docker images, let me show you. Okay, see, SonarQube image has been downloaded. Earlier it was not available, but now we can able to see this. Now if you see Docker ps-a, SonarQube container has been exited 6 minutes ago. Now if you want to check the logs of this container, what happened? Docker container logs, and then the container ID. This is my container ID. Paste, hit enter. Here we can see something has been executed. I mean, these are nothing but the logs. If you see process exited with exit value, okay, some XYZ happened and the SonarQube server has been stopped. Okay, similarly, even if there is no image, if you will try to directly run the container, it will download the image for you. First it will check local. If it is not available, then it will download. Okay, so let me try to create one more container. Docker container run Nginx, hit enter. See, it is trying to download the Nginx image locally and then download it, and then one container has been started. See, these are nothing but the logs of the container. Okay, our container has been started. Now let me try to connect to one more terminal. The reason why I am trying to connect to one more terminal is I just want to show you the status of this container. Okay, so we have got one more terminal. Now if I do Docker container ps, we can see Nginx container is running from last 32 seconds. Now if I do curl, or else I want to know the IP address of this container. Okay, now we can see that Nginx container is running. Yes or no? Nginx container is running on port number 80. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to know the IP address of this Nginx. Means I want to check whether this is running or not. I want to know the IP address. Then what I can do? We have one command called Docker container inspect. Okay, and then container ID. So I can use this container ID. So we have the command called inspect. Inspect command can be used to inspect container or image or any network as well. So what will happen if I use inspect, then I can get the complete detailed information of my container. If I hit enter, see here we have got lot of information related to my container. See, these are all the details related to my container. So if you do inspect, then you can get all the details of your container. And if you scroll down, here we can see the IP address related to my container. So this is my container IP address. This was my private IP address related to EC2. This is my public IP address related to EC2, and this IP is related to my container. Now if I do, sorry, for example, curl and then paste this IP, hit enter, see we are able to see some Nginx image. Yes or no? You guys are able to see this output? Welcome to Nginx. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
So we can use inspect command to get the complete information like IP addresses, which gateway, which endpoint, okay, all the which port number, every details we can get from inspect command. Now we have got the command, I mean we have got the IP address, so this is my container IP address. Now if I'm trying to access this IP address on browser, see what is happening. We are unable to get any response. Why? Because because this IP address is reserved to this particular EC2 only. I mean, this is not exposed to outside world. You cannot access this IP. This is a private IP related to my container. We cannot access from this particular IP address. Okay, that's one point, guys. Remember, I will show what we need to be done. Okay, and another point is in this terminal, this cursor got stuck. I mean, image has been created, but cursor is still, we are unable to do this anything. I mean, if I'll close this, then what will happen? For example, let us see what will happen. If I'll close this by accidentally as well, if this got closed, okay. Now if you see the status Docker container PS, okay, achha, this is running. Okay, so let me show you one more thing. Okay, so what will happen is in general, terminal has been closed, but that is still running. So what will happen is, for example, let me again connect this. Okay, Docker images, we have 3 images, Docker container PS, we have one container which is up and running. Okay, so now I want to run one more Nginx container. Okay, I want to run one more Nginx container. So I can use the same image, Docker container run and then image name called Nginx. Okay, something happened and entry point is not able, will attempt some XYZ logs we are able to see when we have run our Nginx container. Now if I'll go to my one more terminal and if I'll do Docker container PS, then we can see 2 containers are running, means 2 Nginx images are running. Now if you want to see the IP address of this container, then just copy this Docker container inspect and then container ID, hit enter. Now we can see this is running on 03. Earlier it was running on 02. Now this is running on 03. Now the problem here is my cursor got stuck in this terminal. So if I want to do something, or if I'm hitting Control C, see Control C, exited. Okay, and my cursor is back. Now if I do Docker container PS, we can see only one container is running. This is running from last 5 minutes, means 02 container. I mean the first container what I have started. So what is happening is whenever we are executing Docker container run Nginx, one container is getting starting, but my kernel or sorry, my terminal is getting stuck over here only. If I am trying to exit out of this, then my container is also getting stopped. Okay, my container is also getting stopped. So in order, instead of using Docker container run Nginx, what we can do is we can use -it command. Okay, -it, what it will do? Let us see. Nginx. See, -it, what it has did, it has executed the same one, but still my cursor is stuck. Now again, if I do Control C, my container will get exited. Okay, now instead of using -it, we can use -it-d. D is nothing but background. Now if I'll hit enter, see we are able to see some ID over here, and then our cursor is back with us only. Now if I do Docker container PS, what will happen? One Nginx image which has been started 10 seconds ago. Now if you want, you can see this ID, see ID is same. So D is nothing but daemon mode or background. So what it will do, it will create my container in the background. Your cursor will not get stuck, and even if you will do something or close this, still the container will be running until and unless your server is running. Okay, so always use docker container run -itd. It means interactive terminal, d means background. So try to run your containers in the background. Then no need to switch to another terminals. We can use only one terminal and we can do this. And always these services or any container should be running in the background only. Okay, understood? Okay, so now, okay, we are able to see that, okay, this is running in the background, everything is good, but still I am unable to access this on the browser. Okay, and also here we can see some names called sleepy_booth and then strange_bogham, from where we are getting this name. So these are the default names which are being assigned to our containers by Docker engine only. Wherever we have installed Docker, we call it as Docker engine. Okay, so these names are being assigned automatically. So if you want to change these names, we can do that as well. Okay, now what I will do, docker container run -itd. This is to run in the foreground. -p. -p is used for port mapping. Means since my containers are unable to access to outside world, I want my container to access to outside world by using -p parameter. -p parameter is port mapping. Port mapping. Okay, so 80:80. Okay, two numbers. This is my container where this application or my Nginx container will get exposed. Okay, and this is my host IP, host port number. So what I want to do is to run one container in the background with a port number exposed as 81. Means I can access my container on the port number 81. And this port number defines the port number of the container. These port numbers define the port number of your host machine. Means host machine means where I have installed my Docker, this machine. Okay, so on this port number 81, my container will be exposed. Okay, and the container port number is 80. Okay, and then if a name, for example, test_container, means I want to replace this name. I don't want to give some random name. I want to give this name. Then I can add the parameter called -name, then space, and then the image name. Which image? Nginx. Hit enter. Okay. First, what we can do is I can use Nginx, I mean the image name, and then I can use the parameter called -name. See, one image has been created. Now if I do docker container ps, then we can see what happened. Something went wrong and that container has been killed. See, no running containers. Now if you do docker container ps-fna, this has been exited. And the name is also not what I have given. -name or -name. Okay. Docker -help. Or else let me check the documentation only. Okay. So we have that command -n or -name.
iPhone
iPhone
వస్తుంది
ఏం చెప్పారు? iPhone n or iPhone double iPhone? Okay, so we have passed a wrong command. That's the reason it has been failed. So what we can do is we can pass iPhone it seems. Okay, now if I do docker container ps, still this is not running, man.
Sir, Sabir bhai, Docker run hyphen post code and container code image name.
Docker container with name hyphen name container name. Okay. First, let me check the logs of the exited containers. ఎందుకు exit అయిందో. Okay, so this has been exited, right? So let me first try to check this log instead of checking the commands. Okay, Docker container logs and then container ID. -n name not found. See, if you see the output of this log, -n name not found means the command what we are trying to use is not right. Okay. -n name and then the image name. Lastly, we need to pass the image name nginx. Now if you'll do docker ps, see now our container here, if you see this 48 ab 48 ab. Okay, so this is the container. Command was right, but the parameters where I was using was wrong. Okay, now here if you see this, the name of this container is test container. Earlier we were able to see some random names, right? So now we are able to control this name as well. Okay, and also here we can see this has been exposed to port number 81. Earlier this is only 80. Here now this time the output is different. Means if you'll try to access this public IP colon port number 81, hit enter. Now we can see welcome to nginx page. Okay, so this is how we can expose our containers to the outside world by using -p parameter. By using -itd we can execute this in the background. Okay, now we have seen couple of containers which are running. Okay, for example docker container ps, we are seeing 3 containers which are running. Now I want to stop this container. I don't want to run this container. Then what I can do, I can use docker container stop and then container id. Yes, only 2 containers are running. Now if you want to stop one more container, same command, just change the container ID. For example 48a, right? So instead of typing the complete number, I can also use 3 or 4 numbers similar to our GitHub commits. Okay, this is also stopped. Now if you want to stop one more, then we can use ec2. Okay, now if I'll do docker container ps, now 0 containers are running. Now if I'll do this refresh, nothing will be available because this container is not running now. Okay, docker container psfn, everyone has been exited. Now if you want to restart this container, I mean the stopped container, if you want to start this container again, then what we can do, we can use the same command start. Okay, and then 48a is nothing but the container id. Hit enter. Now if I'll do docker container psfna, sorry, instead of psfna, I want to just check the running containers ps. We can see this is again up and running. Now if I try to access this, see this is running. So this is how we can use the containers. So with the help of containers, what happened, the images whatever we are using are executing very fastly. No need to install anything, just use that image and start working on that image. Okay, so we have seen few of the docker commands. In tomorrow's session we'll see some other command. For example, I want to change this deployment. How can we do this? And normally what we used to do, we used to go to cd var www html and then done do. But nowadays I mean, because of this containerization, what happened? This is running inside this container. Now, how will I get inside this container? That part we'll see in tomorrow's session. Okay, guys, do you have any questions for now?
Yes, Sabir bhai.
Yes.
We are using Git Bash for uh, Docker Hub, right? Then why we have installed a Docker container in our machine?
It is just a software or a terminal which will help us to execute the commands, Linux command, any command.
Okay.
It will have a server. In this server, we have Docker engine installed. Docker Hub registry is a place where we can see all the images related to Docker images. Okay, there is no link between Docker engine and Docker Hub. This is the place where we can find the images, and Docker engine is the place where we can run our images, or I mean the containers.
Okay.
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 Any other question, guys?
Sabir bhai,
Understood?
there will be different commands for Ubuntu server. I mean,
Whether it is any image, whether it is Nginx, Linux, Ubuntu, Tomcat, SonarCube, Nexus, we should use the same command. I mean, Docker images to check the images, Docker container to get the list of containers, Docker container run to create the
Yeah.
container. Inside the container,
I mean, like
there's different
you
story.
just, yeah. You just, I mean, change the port number for Nginx, right? From 80 to 81.
Yes.
So, I mean, like yesterday we made some task, I mean, about that. So, in Ubuntu, we went into different place and we changed from there by using vim command.
No. See, even if I want to change the default number, I mean, instead of 80, this is been mapped to container port that is exposed on 80. Okay. So now, how do I know that this is running on port number 80? I mean, Nginx, it is not compulsory that Nginx should run only on 80, right? So how will I know? Okay. Instead of 80, this might be on 81. I am exposing this on 81. That is different story. Okay, I can export on any port number, host port. Okay, this is related to container port, this is related to host port. Host port means your place where you have installed Docker. Okay, that machine port number. This is container port number. So if you go to this Nginx only, Nginx image, I was aware of that. That's the reason I was using this. If you see these tags, not tags, sorry, go to overview. And if you scroll down here, you can find lot of details. See, they are also providing some details to expose this. Okay, so 80. Okay, and then apart from this, Docker images, Docker inspect, Docker image inspect, and then image ID. Which image I want to use? Nginx. And if I'll hit enter, sorry. UOCKER, okay, Docker, and then image inspect. Okay, so we can use inspect command to get all the details. That's what I said, right? So if I'll do inspect to the specific image, and if I'll scroll down here, we can see this export port. From here we can get the detail which port number they have exposed. They have means Nginx guys who has uploaded that image. Okay, 81 is what I am exposing, because I know that 81 is free, I'm exposing. Okay, and 80 is something what they have exposed. And if you want to know which image they have exposed, sorry, which port number they have exposed, then you can either check that from information from the Docker Hub only, you can find the details of this particular image, or else you can check these details from the particular inspect command. Okay, see 80. Okay, so now what I can do is I cannot use 81:81 because this container is not exposed on 81, right? So for example, same command, let me try to execute again. Okay, this is my command, right? I don't want to add any name for now. So this is my image. I'm trying to expose this on 81. This one on 82 because already 81 is occupied in my machine, right? So I'm using 82 to expose, or let me use 80 to expose on my machine, and 81 the container port, and hit enter. See what will happen. Docker container ps. Okay, now see port number 80 to 81. Okay, see 81 has been exposed. Now if I'm trying to access this on port number 80, let us see what will happen. This should be no details found. Why? Because this 8080 is trying to access something which is on port number 80. In reality, there is nothing port number on running on port number 81 inside the container. Nothing is running inside the port number 81 inside the container. And our port number 8080 is trying to access which is exposed on port number 81 inside the container. So there is no service running on port number 81. So we will not be able to see anything. Okay. So when I have executed 81 to 80 on port number 80 inside the container, Nginx is running. So I'm telling that if something is trying to access on port number 81 on my machine, try to redirect that to the container which and container port number 80 which service is running. Okay, so here Nginx is running, so it is trying to access this Nginx. Here 8080 on 81 nothing is running, so no request, so we will not be able to see anything. Okay, what happened? You asked the question and you are silent. Someone may add, yeah. Hello.
Sabir bhai, yeah, we are using same method in previous tools like in Ansible also we are doing installing a web server and deployment. So
Yes.
here also we are doing same thing.
Yes.
So what is there any difference for
See,
both of them?
Ansible, the reason, see, we have installed Nginx or Apache by using Ansible, but what is the purpose why Ansible is available? I mean, what is the main purpose of Ansible?
It's a configuration tool.
Yes. What is the purpose of containers or Docker? For containerization. Okay.
Yes.
So Ansible, the only thing we have executed Apache, Nginx, Tomcat throughout our exercise is that's the basic thing what we can learn easily. If I'll start with something very like Node.js, Python, then it will be very difficult for you guys to understand the basics. Okay, this is only for understanding purpose and to get some hands-on on this technology. Later on, you can modify based upon the office requirement or project requirement. If they are asking you to create any application, containerized any application, then we can do that. That part also we'll see in coming days.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, but only thing Apache, Nginx, that will help us with the basics. I mean, to understand or the concept. Try to understand the concept, not Apache or Nginx. We have done enough exercise on Apache and Nginx. Okay, understand the commands, how this behavior. I mean, which command is doing what, how it is trying to fetch the data. Understand the basic concept. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Aman, have you understood that?
Yes, sir.
This is my EC2. Okay, inside this EC2, what I have did, I have created one Nginx container. Okay, this Nginx container on port number 80, what is running? Nginx is running. Okay, now if I have started my Nginx container and inside this container on port number 80, Nginx is running, so I will not be able to expose this to outside world. This is only accessible to this EC2 only. From my machine, I am unable to access this. Why? Because this port number is reserved. I mean, we cannot access this. So what happened? What I have did, I have used -p parameter and then exposed port number 81. Okay, so what I have did, I have exposed port number 81 of this EC2. Okay, so whenever on browser, Okay, this is my laptop, for example. Laptop on browser, I'm trying to access this public IP, for example, 192.168.0.0/81. So what is happening? This request will be reaching out to this EC2, which is running on port number 81, and this 81 is been mapped with this port number 80. Okay, so this is how I'm getting the answer back. I mean the request. Okay. So if we are trying to expose port number 81, for example, 81 on this port, nothing is running, no process, means nothing is running on this port number 81 inside this container. So if I'm trying to expose 8080, okay, whenever a user is trying to access 8080, then what will happen? It will come to this port number, and from this port number it will go to the request, send the request to the port number 81 inside that container. Inside 81, no process is running, so there is no use. It will not be able to access any pages because no application is deployed, or there is no app server or web server exposed on port number 81. Okay. Yes or no? Guys, understood?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Or do you have any questions? All right. Okay. Let me stop this video recording.